So hi everyone, it's a pleasure to be here at the Porto Tech Hub this year. I'm Oscar, Bruno already presented me, thank you. I come from Casa da Música, from a team called Digitopia, and from last year on Vorten Digitopia because we had sponsorship from Vorten. And it's very hard to describe what we do because there aren't many teams like us anywhere else, at least that we know of. We describe ourselves as a platform for enabling musical creation and learning and education through technology. But I'll talk a bit more about that in a moment. I'd like to start by posing a question, which is, as you know, Casa da Música is a concert hall here in Porto. It looks like this, what you see on the left. And it's, in some aspects, a very traditional concert hall, which means it has a symphony orchestra, a baroque orchestra, a choir. It's also a contemporary music ensemble, but it's very focused on classical music. So, does it make sense for a concert hall like this to have a permanent team fixed on technology? It's one of the main questions I'll try to answer today. Basically, why do we exist? Why do we do the work that we do? And what it is that we actually do. Let me start by going through the timeline a bit and talking about what happened in this last few years and since our beginning in 2007. Basically, that was the year where Digitopia was created. We were born in 2007. And we were born within the educational department at Casa da Música. So it was actually composed of two computers there at a hall at Casa da Música, where people could go and make music using the software at the time. But soon we moved to this space just at the entrance of Casa da Música, right next to the ticket sales. We had 10 iMacs from 2007, which was a big novelty at the time. In 2007, as you remember, computers weren't as ubiquitous as they are now. They are everywhere, but in 2007, having computers with audio interfaces and microphones and things like that, it was something quite new at the time. So, even from the beginning, we started with software development. Then, in 2010, two main things happened to our team, which is every day there was a monitor to accompany the people who wanted to make something there. Like if you wanted to produce your own beats, you had someone there to help you. If you wanted to learn about audio capture and microphones, you had someone there to help you. That's how the team grew from 2 people to almost 8 people at the time. And we created Digitopia Collective, which is an electronic music performance ensemble. But then, as everyone from Portugal remembers, from 2010 to 2012, there were some financial cuts and things changed. In 2012, smartphones were beginning to appear everywhere, so the iMacs weren't as exciting as they were just a few years before. And the way we make music changed. So our team changed as well, and our resources changed as well. Our approach changed with that technological change. So we started focusing on mobile apps, and we started also working with the resident groups at Casa da Música, which means we started working with a remix ensemble, doing the live electronics for contemporary music pieces, and we started working with the symphony orchestra and things like that. We also started looking for funding elsewhere from Casa da Música. That's where we began our partnership, for instance, with Braga. We still do a lot of projects there. I'm showing you in a bit. And then, more recently, we got a studio, a fixed place for us to work and to develop software and music and to produce music at Casa da Música, and we started focusing on web development. So this is our team. I'm not going to go through each one of those, but there are some things I'd like to discuss because they are very, very important. Every member of our team is not only a musician or a programmer, they are both, which means that those of us who have a background mainly in music, such as myself, we know a bit about programming, not that much, but we try and make web coding a practice for everyone. And for instance, Nuno Espanhol has the opposite background. He comes from computer science, background, but he also has a lot of experience in music. He has the conservatory, he studied classical guitar. So that's one of the main things for us, which is to invest in people, not in tasks. So this means that when we face a new project, we do it because of the people we have. We don't go to the market looking for a programmer who knows music, because these kinds of people are very difficult to find. There's not a job posting or a place for you to look for this kind of profile in the job market. And every member of the team works in the common ground between art and technology and tries to unlock technology's potential for creativity. That's what we do. So, now that you know the team, let me show you what it is that we do nowadays. We work in three main areas, which are these ones. Obviously, they are all interconnected. The main area we work in is supporting the resident groups at Casa da Música, such as the orchestras and the artists in residence as well. The second area is working with communities, whether it is school children or people with special needs, and just going most of the times outside of Casa da Música's building and working on location with different people. And the third area is research and development, which kind of feeds on both of the other two areas. Let me give you a practical example. Since 2012, most of the pieces of the orchestras that involve electronics somehow were done by our team, which means that the composer or the publisher sends, most of the times it's a Max MSP patch to Casa da Música, which comes to us. We do some bit of programming or some rearranging, which ends up in a final performance. Here is an audio example. So this is a piece by Stockhausen, the German composer. It has both electronics and a live orchestra playing. I'll try to show you the beginning again, sorry. So this is the Porto Symphony Orchestra, and we are playing the live electronics part. Let me try and cut. Here's an example of that. We have the orchestra on stage with the conductor. A member of our team needs to be proficient enough to speak with the conductor and the instrumentalists who are playing, but also needs to be technically savvy enough to know how to get around the patch and all of the equipment, and also to learn how to read the musical scores and to work as an interface with the sound department. That is the people who put in the PA system and those kinds of things. So there's a lot of different things involved. We work in close proximity with both the composers and the technical department at Casa da Música, which is what you see here. The second area is working with communities. You start hearing a piece from a workshop we did called Zero Mais Igual a Som. This is the photo is from a workshop we did in Bragança, a town in northern Portugal. So we take these computers and technical equipment and synthesizers and iPads and iPhones and play with the kids in schools. Here are two examples. I'll show you the websites we did for both of these in a moment, but they are Casa Sons, a partnership with the Porto municipality. We worked with around 1,800 children in total in 6 sessions each. So we go to the schools and do these activities in their classrooms, but then they also come to Casa da Música and do a final performance. And the same with Zero Mais Um Igual a Som. In this case, in Braga Media Arts, we reached close to 2,000 children at the moment. All of these are from the elementary school in Porto. But when we talk about working with communities, we also find it important to bring everything to the stage. That is, community music and music where everyone participates and takes a part should be on the stages. That is something we believe in. So here's the sound you're listening to is from a performance. You see there on the right with our friends from Crinapel, which is a theater company from Lisbon with people with special needs. We work with them, and on the left you can see them playing the instruments we created and software we did for them, alongside with ourselves. We are on the stage with them. Okay, so the third area, before we get a bit more practical, is research and development. Obviously, we need to produce the software we use on the other two areas, and that is done in this area of action. And we try as often as possible to produce papers and to participate in conferences. It's not always possible, but we try to do that. Those are the 3 main phases of development we went through. From 2007 to 2011, we were focused on producing software for either Mac or Windows, or sometimes both. We did that mostly with processing and Max MSP. But then, as I said, from 2011 or 2012 to 2016, we switched on to multi-platform software with tools such as open frameworks, which allow us to have a single development cycle. That is, with the same code, we can build an app for iOS and Android and Mac and Windows, because otherwise it would be very time-consuming. Our team is built of 6 people who aren't working there part-time, so you can imagine it's quite difficult. But then from 2016, we really focused on web development. And why is that? Because a web app can run virtually anywhere. Granted, it's a fairly recent device. You don't have the compatibility. You can use it either on a laptop or on a tablet or on a smartphone. So it becomes very versatile. You can use, for instance, the accelerometer on your device, whereas if you only code for Mac or Windows, you can't. And it's very easily accessible. You can go from there anywhere. Okay? So, what do you use in practice? We use Vue.js for the framework, and for sound is mostly Web Audio API, which allows us to schedule very precise events. In music, you have to do that. You have to make sure everything is on the right beat. And for music theory, we also use these JavaScript libraries, which are Vexflow and Theoria.js. And for graphics, we focused on vector imaging with libraries such as Snap SVG. But you can get the picture. It's almost everything in JavaScript. And we also try to make sure our apps work with WebMidi. And we use GitHub and Netlify and open source tools to ship them and deploy them and prototype and all those kinds of stuff. And we try to stick with the progressive web apps guideline, which means that if you go through our websites, you can download them as an app for your device if you want to. So, let's do an exercise. This is the program I talked about, which is called Zero Mais Um Igual a Som. here is the website. I'll try to make an activity with all of you guys. Hope you're ready to play. I'll show you the site and what I mean. This is it. I'll put it in English. You have different activities. Let's start with the first one. First one has a circle with 8 dots that works as a cycle, okay? So on the left-hand side, you have the titles, you have the feet symbol for the blue color, the clapping for it's green, and in red you have the finger snap sound. How does it work? Just click, and it will turn blue. If you click again, it will turn green, and if you click again, it will turn red, and then white again. So it's also a loop. It starts by white, blue, green, and then red. I'll try and make a rhythm here for you to see. And it sounds like this. So let's try and play this, okay? The blue will be this sound, the green will be this sound, and the red will be this. Let's start over, and I'll start with a blank rhythm. And let's try to just play on the one. I'll put it a bit slower here on the right. 6, 7, 8, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 1, 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 1, 2, 6. Let's hear it for you guys, okay? Well done. You are almost at the level of the first graders we work with, so it's children age 6. I know that you studied technology, but thanks. Okay, not music. Just kidding. So this is the Neptune app. It's another app we built. It's based on the ideas of assigning a sound to each of the planets. So Mercury is the closest together to the Sun. It has the lowest note, but you can play a note for each of the planets. And the lower you go, the softer the sound is. You can also play it as a sequencer. Okay? You can also play the sounds from the NASA collection of sounds from the actual planets. This is what Neptune sounds like. And you can do a soundscape with this. If you long press, it will tell you a fact about the planet. And you can also record your sounds to use as a sequencer. I don't think I have time to show you this, but it's also the idea of having counting and going from 3 to 4, for instance. Keep in mind that most of the kids this age don't know how to read. Kids aged 6 years at the beginning of the school year in Portugal, they don't know how to read. And this is like a coding website where you can code your melody. It says play a C, wait 1 beat, and then play a D and wait 2 beats, and then loop it again, so you can code your own melodies. Okay, so let me try and get back to where we were. This is how we approach app development. We try to make sure it is STEAM-based. STEAM is an educational approach involving the STEM sciences, which is our science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, and adding arts. There are 2 ways to look at this, either as using the arts to learn about science and vice versa, but the way we prefer is to explore creativity, just to be creative in learning. Also try to keep it really, really simple, because that way you can reach a wider audience, and you can be very creative with restrictions, but if you put a lot of possibilities in the apps, it will create a lot of noise. That's our experience. We use technology to cut through the learning curves. As I say there, it's easier to play a violin in an iPad than to learn how to play a violin. So you can be expressive and creative from the beginning, but that raises a question. Is it worth to invest time in learning how to play a violin on the iPad? Why don't you use the actual violin? You can get a lot more different sounds and things like that, and be more in control of your instrument. So, in conclusion, we try to design software for humans, and to create opportunities and an environment when we go to schools where kids can learn many different things, and they can be creative and expressive, and they can collaborate with one another, and they can communicate through music and through arts and learn a bit about science and technology and experience the world in their own way. So thank you very much.